Across Singapore, many housing estates in Punggol, Bukit Timah, Tampines, Bishan are lined with solar panels. There is a common perception that solar energy is expensive and inaccessible. Frank Phuan, co-founder of Sunseap, says that is a myth.
We have reached grid parity a couple of years ago. Grid parity is a phenomenon whereby the generation of solar energy is less than the cost of conventional energy generated via oil and gas.
This is a tale with two dimensions, a business one and a social one.
I was involved in clean energy business since a young age. My father started a solar panel manufacturing company in 1979, and I've spent a substantial amount of time in the business learning the ins and outs of the business. I also spent some time after I graduated from NTU learning about other trades, returning to the business a couple of years later and move on the business downstream to specialize in sustainable energy solutions. We have all witnessed firsthand the harsh effects of climate change. We cannot continue to live in an unsustainable manner, treating resources as though they were infinite supply and destroying them for our next generation. A sustainable business is a way for us to combat climate change. Our clients can make monetary savings at the same time while making meaningful contribution to the environment.
Sunseap is the largest clean energy provider in Singapore, providing clean energy that is both affordable and accessible. Via its Solar Power Purchase Agreement (PPA) model, clients of Sunseap need only pay for what they use without having to worry about installation and maintenance costs.
We provide downstream services by specializing in system integration to sell clean energy instead of selling solar systems. We are also looking into various areas of research and development that includes energy storage solutions as well as creative and innovative ways to deploy solar energy.
Wu and Phuan met while in university. Two men with different backgrounds found a common vision. Their vision to provide all of Singapore with clean energy. For both men, this dream held profound personal meaning. Phuan saw the shadow of his father, Wu the heart of his mother.
Sunseap stands for Sun Southeast Asia Pacific. It symbolizes the vision and goal of the company to bring sustainable energy to the region and beyond. It also signifies our shift from manufacturing to downstream services whereby we provide clean energy to our clients.
I was born in a humble family. Growing up was not easy, and my family often emphasized on thrift, especially after my dad passed away prior to university. During my days in university, I had to juggle between working part-time and studying just for the extra pocket money. So I realized while I was still studying, in order to provide a better life for myself and my family, I would like to seek a well-paid career while still balancing with venturing out and trying something unfamiliar. Nonetheless, my career really started with investment banking, which at that point in time was very glamorous, and as well as a promise of a huge salary payouts, as well as bonuses. My career background gave me exposure to business owners and senior management of big companies. Notwithstanding that, the curiosity and the enthusiasm to venture out got the better of me, which I decided to venture out during the 2009 financial crisis. The process has proved to be both very humbling and rewarding.
30 years ago, when Phuan's father first started in the solar industry, awareness of its benefits was slender. Phuan and Wu had to knock on the doors of various government agencies and businesses to seek support and financial backing.
So starting out, we had to raise capital. We had to promote our business model at the same time. We had to find also a way to attract and build an effective team of co-workers with our very limited budget. This leads us to find a balance between business development, fundraising and team building. To overcome this, we built a small core team. We anchor them with key values and responsibilities, which then leads us to expand our operations, shareholdings, and further growth into the region with business partners.
It took 4 years for Sunseap to receive approval from the Energy Market Authority. In 2011, HDB released its first solar tender. Devising ways to finance projects became the next challenge.
There's always a degree of challenge to secure potential clients. It's never easy to commit to such long-term deals, especially when you are positioned as an early adopter. Locally, price is still the number one factor that drives solar energy adoption. Many potential clients are more fixated on price than the incremental positive effect the adoption of clean energy can bring, such as the reducing the organization's carbon footprint. There is a need to inject a mindset to shift from the emphasis of cost savings to carbon savings. However, we understand that it takes time to change the attitudes on the market, and remain positive and confident that over time, with more awareness, government support and initiatives, process will continue to improve. The Housing Development Board and Pasir Ris Punggol Town Council were the first to pioneer the solar leasing tender in Singapore. One of the major challenges we face is the financing of the solar system. It took us a long time to explain this new business model to various financial institutions. In the end, it was really heartening to have DBS finance our first solar power purchase agreement in Singapore.
DBS is optimistic about the green energy industry in Singapore and believe in the growth potential of Sunseap in playing an instrumental part of the industry. This is particularly so when we saw two very outstanding entrepreneurs, Frank and Lawrence, who have very strong industrial and financial knowledge in executing Singapore's first power purchase agreement. We work hand in hand with Frank and Lawrence, as well as their working committee, to understand the business model, how a solar PV system works, and at the end of the day, how did the system generate cash flow for the business. This included climbing out rooftop with Sunseap and spending long hours to conduct intensive research on green energy industry. We believe in innovation and providing financial solutions so that we can make banking joyful for our customers.
From a virtually unknown in the solar industry scene to the market now, Sunseap has come a long way since its humble beginnings.
A trusted and synergistic relationship with my co-founder, a solid team, and support we garnered from various stakeholders, including financiers, our investors, our clients and contractors, as well as hard work and tenacity were really the strong pillars that enable us to be successful. One of my proudest moments has got to be winning the Entrepreneur of the Year award, overall winner in the New Entrepreneur Award category in 2015. It's co-organized by the Association of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises and the Rotary Club of Singapore. The EYA is highly coveted across many industries, and we are privileged to join an impressive list of outstanding entrepreneurs. It is a defining moment for the company and for us, and a recognition for our efforts being acknowledged.
Despite all their successes, they are quick to acknowledge that there are moments of vulnerability.
Well, work-wise, I wouldn't change a single thing. I enjoy working. I love coming to work every day. On a personal level, I'll tell myself to spend more time with my loved ones. Over the years, my entrepreneurial endeavors has took more time away than what I like from my family.
Cynics often say that money and values are mutually exclusive. Frank Phuan says that the opposite is true.
I think it's important for a business to have a social conscience. The reason is because if a business or someone do not believe in the things they do, they will never be able to put their best foot forward, much less achieve the most desired results. For myself and Sunseap, my father has established a foundation and educated me on the importance of sustainability since my initial years of the business. It is through his guidance that we are truly able to say we are really looking forward to change the world one solar panel at a time.
But a thriving business and a strong sense of social responsibility leaves little room for sentiment or idle time. In 2015, Sunseap became the energy provider for Apple's operations in Singapore. It is also responsible for powering several hundred public housing estates, with many more in development. Today, solar energy is seen as the future. Many large industrial nations, such as Germany, currently the world's powerhouse in solar energy, have celebrated its benefits. Energy that is reliable, abundant, and pollutant-free. Singapore, being located near the equator, is in an ideal location to harness the power of the sun. Sunseap offers a range of standard and custom-designed clean energy solutions. As both a wholesale generator and electricity retailer licensed by the Electricity Market Authority (EMA), Sunseap is uniquely positioned to tailor unique clean energy solutions. The process of utilizing solar power starts here. Sunseap evolves a discussion with the client about his or her particular needs. The client then sends his or her most recent electrical bills over to Sunseap. Thereafter, Sunseap conducts a site survey, followed by a contract negotiation and signing. In addition, Sunseap takes care of the areas such as installation and maintenance. Solar systems installed atop private and commercial buildings have two power sources, one from the national grid and one from the solar system. During the daytime, solar energy is generated and supplied to the facilities to offset a percentage of its electricity requirements, with the remainder supplied via the national grid. Similarly, at night, when solar energy cannot be generated, the national grid will supply the facilities with electricity. The generation of solar energy relies on many factors, such as the size of the system, shading, and weather conditions. Sunseap estimates that it has some 37 individual clients in Singapore.
Our refrigeration company here in Bedok has always believed in adopting green manufacturing practices and working towards environmental sustainability. Industries are huge energy consumers. Solar Power Purchase Agreement partnership presents an opportunity for us to adopt and reduce our carbon footprint, and hopefully encourage more business and industry to power our operation using solar energy. Panasonic Solar PPA partnership with Sunseap has led to an average of 10% of our factory operation being powered by renewable energy. We have also been able to reduce carbon dioxide emission by close to 2,000 tons annually. In addition, the factory enjoys cheaper electricity rates compared to drawing from the grid. In essence, energy and cost saving from solar PPA can then be channeled to overall productivity and quality improvement for our factory.
Education institutions like Singapore American School are part of a wider movement towards a more sustainable usage of energy. Sunseap is at the forefront, leading this revolutionary movement that is changing the way we consume energy. In November 2015, Sunseap signed a landmark agreement with technology giant Apple to power all its local operations with 100% renewable energy through a combination of on-site and off-site clean energy supply, a first in the region.
At the onset, Apple set out to have 100% clean energy account for their operations in Singapore. The ambitious target presented us with a challenge which we eventually overcame. Solar deployment requires substantial land space to implement, and land scarcity in Singapore posed a great challenge for us. Even though Apple's premises had the potential to install a rather large solar system, solar energy generated from its premises itself would not make up the desired 100% target. So we had to look beyond, and we looked towards our installations around the country, which included 800 of them, commercial, industrial, and residential estates, in order to supply Apple with solar energy to meet this energy target.
Sunseap works with internationally recognized accreditation bodies to certify that Apple's energy supply via their off-site power purchase agreement (PPA) came from renewable sources. In 2011, the Housing and Development Board (HDB) launched its first solar tender in the process, changing the landscape of clean energy deployment in Singapore. Sunseap's Solar Power Purchase Agreement (PPA) simplifies the process of clean energy adoption for its clients by offering an integrated solution.
Singapore's solar scene is blessed to have HDB help develop the solar leasing model, which was used to help launch the first solar leasing tender back in 2011. Now, solar leasing is a great idea for anyone who wanted to go green, but yet do not want to take on the huge upfront cost. Now, through partnerships with Sunseap, potential adopters can now have access to affordable clean energy.
In December 2015, Solar Nova, the largest solar tender to date, was awarded to Sunseap. For Frank, who was taught by his father the virtues of solar power, this feels especially close to home.
Unlike many other countries, the Singapore government does not provide financial incentives for clean energy. Yet, the way we design and build our solar systems, we are able to offer a price discount to our customers. However, bringing sustainable energy to Singapore is more than just a financial interest to me. It's also a family legacy and a moral responsibility towards sustainability that I choose to take on.
What began in Punggol in 2011 has expanded into various other housing estates in Singapore. Yet, back in the office, things remain the same. Frank and Lawrence continue to believe that autonomy and flexibility are keys to unblocking creativity.
In Sunseap, we work in an open door concept where there are no separate offices. Everyone shares the same workspace, including the senior staff and myself. We empower our staff to make decisions and always practice flexibility in work processes. Autonomy plays an important part in motivating our employees, and we believe our employees should feel empowered in order to perform the task to the best of their abilities.
The ability to dream big and at the same time keep a grounded sense of realism forms the yin and yang of these two visionaries and their staff. Today, Sunseap has expanded into a multi-million-dollar business, garlanded with multiple business accolades and an employee roster of about 80. Even so, it never rests. Its offices are always pulsating creativity. Sunseap's Special Projects Department functions as an in-house research and development department. Here, experts in engineering are constantly looking for ways to optimize the use of solar energy.
Our Special Project Department is equivalent to a Research and Development Department where we are constantly looking at making improvements. Through continuous R&D, we are able to maintain cost leadership through new ideas and innovation. Some ongoing special projects include energy storage, hybrid solar system, and nano coating on our solar panels.
One of the things the Research and Development Department is looking at is off-grid solar power purchase agreement as a means to provide rural electrification. An off-grid solar power purchase agreement helps developing countries to achieve growth and at the same time meet their energy needs. Recently, Sunseap has also started looking at projects overseas.
Sunseap is very involved in internationalization. In addition to the deals that have been announced, we are in talks with a number of companies regionally for various projects, especially in Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, and other parts of Indochina. We take particular interest in grid parity projects, both rooftop and utility scale, and combining energy storage and solar for rural electrification and for off-grid PV applications. Our goal is to provide affordable and sustainable energy to everyone.
But while Sunseap has an international orientation and a global vision, its focus is firmly centered on Singapore.
We are adding new systems every day, greenifying the grids. We are also finding new areas to deploy solar. Example, having building integrated PV and having floating PV system on offshore and inland water body. In addition, we are also conduct research and development to develop new product and solution. Example, a solar power Wi-Fi access and energy storage solution.
With Singapore's electricity market expected to liberalize in the second half of 2018, Sunseap is looking to provide clean energy to residents with or without rooftops. Typically, clean energy adoption in Singapore comes in the form of solar and requires substantial roof space to install a solar system.
Sunseap has devised an off-site PPA model for customers with a rooftop limitation. This is done through a use of a certification process to verify clean energy that is accessed and not consumed into the electricity grid. Clean energy is then sold to an off-site PPA, which is then auditable and traceable. This allows clean energy to be available to everyone with or without a rooftop.
With so much at stake, it is no wonder that Sunseap is always on the lookout for young talents who are ready to contribute. This may be surprising to some, but many Sunseap's employees are trained in-house.
Manpower scarcity with the right skill set is a challenge in our industry, especially when we have multiple projects that have tight timelines. Productivity is the core solution here. We achieve it through processes, systems, training, and partnerships. For example, Sunseap has an operational excellence team to roll out standard operating procedures. Our extensive training also helps employees to be mentally prepared before they dive into the actual work. Sunseap is always looking for employees with the drive to learn and succeed while embracing productive solutions.
What I find most enticing about this company is the flat organizational structure and a strong entrepreneurial attitude throughout the company. It is certainly challenging yet rewarding. The clean energy industry is still in a very nascent stage of development, especially in this part of the world. There's a strong sense of teamwork at Sunseap and we are very coordinated when it comes to tackling challenges. When a new colleague joins the team, there's usually a steep learning curve, but the more experienced team members are always available to provide guidance.
The last 5 years provided a challenging transition for Sunseap. In taking the road less traveled, its founders have experienced both trials and tribulations. Lawrence says he has picked up many lessons.
A good team and funding, because without funding, the business will not grow as fast or you'll not be able to sustain its operations. A business plan that evolves with the market circumstances, as well as changes to adapt to the company's growth. Lastly, a good business plan requires solid execution for it to work. To the aspiring entrepreneur, particularly the first generation entrepreneurs, I would say do not be afraid to take risks and venture out to do something that you believe in. Secondly, do not be afraid to raise capital early, because the capital will allow you to go a lot further, and yet at the same time, it is testament to the business idea that you have.
In addition to bagging several industry awards, Sunseap also inspired the DBS mini-series titled Sparks. Sunseap hopes that its efforts in clean energy deployment will contribute towards Singapore's goal of becoming the leading clean energy hub in the region. Yet all these successes and big ambitions come down to one thing: a determined belief that solar energy is essential and commercially viable. That is the vision of the two founders of Sunseap.
As we all know, Singapore has very strong sunshine conditions unless it's cloudy. But in general, there's tens of thousands of rooftops available which are very suitable for solar deployment. And the future of solar is very bright in Singapore, but also beyond Singapore in Southeast Asia or Asia Pacific at large. Solar energy, like other renewable energies, do not consume fossil fuels and also don't generate harmful greenhouse gases. But in order to achieve Singapore's sustainability targets, we have to do more. We have to do energy savings, switching off the lights when you leave a room, putting up the air conditioning at a comfortable 24 degrees. Another point is energy efficiency, changing conventional light bulbs to LEDs. And then we have to think also about renewable energies. But for the case of Singapore, we don't have wind, we don't have hydropower, we only have little biomass. So effectively, it's solar energy for Singapore, and that's the way to go.
The exigencies of climate change spurred governments around the world to a committed effort to reduce their carbon emissions. What is the best way to achieve this? Perhaps the answer lies in part with local companies like Sunseap.